Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 26, 2025 City Council Special Meeting. If Suzanne, would you please call the roll? Thank you. Here.
Turn my mic on. Mayor Case,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nakai,
Here.
Councilmember Baldwin,
Here.
Councilmember Gear,
Here.
Councilmember Harvey,
Here.
Councilmember Jones,
Here.
Councilmember Smith.
Present.
Thank you.
Would everyone please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One nation under God.
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Under item 3, ceremonies, presentations, and appointments, we have item A, December 2024 sales tax update, and we'll have Aaron present that to us.
All right, there we go. Okay, so tonight I have, is my mic on? There we go. Tonight I have the December 2024 sales tax update for the end of the year. Just to reiterate how the sales tax process works, we receive our sales tax payments essentially a full month in arrears. So all the payments that we received for December, we do not actually receive at the city until January 20th. That's when they're due. We then do our sales tax analysis, which usually takes place on the 5th or 6th of the following month. So I know I have gotten some questions and also heard some comments about when we remit the sales tax to the school district. And we usually remit it about the 15th of the month that we've done the sales tax report. So for this month, for example, December 2024, in February 15th, that's the date that we actually remitted the payment to the school district. So I've heard a lot of comments about how we haven't been remitting the payments to the school district. It's completely inaccurate, and I would love any questions that we would have from those individuals to bring them directly to myself, because I'm hearing how we're 4 or 5 months delinquent. That's completely inaccurate. We are completely up to date. So I just wanted to address that for the public. Okay.
Real quick, didn't you specify that at the last city council meeting?
I do, and I will continue to do it as long as we continue to get questions on it, because I do understand that it's confusing because it's 2 months after. So it seems as though we are late or delinquent, but we're not. It's right on schedule of what we have in our agreement with them.
Okay. I just want our community to understand that, you know, it's already been explained how the system works and such. And as you do due diligence, you will continue for those that do not really understand the system.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Okay, so here's the report we have for December 2024. Year to date through December, we received $8,561,000, which was $123,707 more than last year, which was 1.5% up. December, however, though, was a very low month we had for sales tax. We were 5.5% down. And when we did some analysis into why we were down so much, it looks like November we were up about 6%. And there was a timing difference with our payments we received from the state, which is the state and use system that they have. And I guess they had a timing difference. So we received our November payment, it looks like a little bit early. And so our December revenues were off by a little bit. November was our best month of the year, and now December is our worst month. So we were down about 50,000 year over year in December, which put us 5.5% down. So we ended 1.5% up for the year. Still up, but not as consistent of that revenue stream that I always talk about. How I'll show you on the graph where it's every single month we have been pretty much consistent, and now these last 2 months have been kind of up and down.
Aaron, I'm sorry, Aaron. So when we went through budget, we used what percent of sales tax growth?
2.5%.
2.5.
Sorry. All right, and then lodging tax year to date, we are down 15%. We received $386,283 for the year, which was $68,290 less than the previous year. And December was down 11.8%, which was $21,993. So that's been pretty consistent. And then when we look at the the chart here, you can see that all year except for March, we were pretty much just above. We were riding that 2.5%, 3% up all year. And then November, December have just been a little bit off there. So any questions on that? Yes.
It's not exactly about this, but it is about this. Um, The franchise taxes that we pay to utilities,
That we receive?
we pay them to the company, right? Oh,
We receive the franchise taxes.
but don't we pay them on our bill? No,
Oh,
Individually,
yeah, we pay them on our bill.
a franchise fee is often charged to a utility for occupying our rights of way. It's in the nature of a rental of
Mhm.
municipal property, but those charges are quite often and usually passed through by the utility on your bill.
Okay,
So
so they
that's
come
probably
directly to the city,
Yes.
and are they counted in here as sales tax or no?
They are not. They're a separate line item in the budget for franchise taxes.
And then, just off the top of your head, because I know you're brilliant, what would it cost the city if we did not charge sales tax on groceries?
I don't have that breakdown.
Okay,
Yes.
would you? A lot?
yeah, our tax base here is not broad. Like, for instance, Colorado Springs has a multitude of different businesses that create a tax base that provides adequate revenue to provide the services expected. Here, we don't have like Home Depots and things like that. We have a very small retail base with which to collect sales taxes. So that's why originally back in the day, that groceries were included as a taxable item here, so that we have. Mhm.
And I would say even to pull that data out of our system would be, if it may be possible, but it also may be impossible based on the way that we collect the revenues. We can break it down based on categorically on who's remitting. So I could lump things together, but we don't collect and itemize the tax in that way that I don't know that I could say specifically how much comes specifically
Yeah.
from groceries.
Well, it sounds like it'd be too big a burden, so that answers my question.
All I could say is that it would be a significant portion.
A few years ago, when I was working at the Municipal League, a senator put in a bill to get rid of the sales tax on food for statutory municipalities. And the city of Buena Vista was in his district. And we learned that fully 50% of the general purpose tax revenues of the city would go away if the food tax went away. So it's big.
All right, that's all I have for you on this one.
All right. Any other questions, council? Thank you, Aaron. Item 5 is the consent calendar. We have 2 items. The first is approval of the January statement of expenditures and authorize the mayor to sign warrants in payment thereof. And item B is approval of a contract between Lamb Excavating and the city of Woodland Park in the amount of $74,269.05 for fire supply line for the UPass Cultural Center. And council, we can take these together as a consent item, or if there's something you would like to address individually, we can pull it off and put that under new business. All right,
There's only one thing that I would like to say and express my, happiness about the city using a local company for this, for this work. And that's what we're about. And the more that we can see this stuff happening would be awesome.
thank you. Anything else? All right, council, I'd look for a motion for item 5, the consent calendar.
I make a motion to approve the consent calendar as is.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, Suzanne, would you take the vote, please?
Yes, Case,
Yes.
Nakai,
Yes.
Baldwin,
Yes,
Gear,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you, council. That takes us to item 6, public comment on items not on the agenda. Do we have folks signed up, Suzanne?
We do.
All right.
We have 2 speakers signed up. Our first speaker is Patricia Stinner.
All right. While you're coming up, Patricia, I'm gonna just mention that we have this room until 5:45 this evening because we have the Citizens Academy in here. As you can see, it's set up. So we will be limiting comments so that we can be gone by 5:45. Welcome. If you give
Thank
your
you.
full name and your city of residence.
Thank you. Patricia Stinner, Woodland Park.
Thank you.
So, since this was brought up, it's going to make it a little easier on me. First, I want to commend Chief Dienst of Ute Pass Regional Health Services, also known as the Ambulance District, for having the foresight to omit sales taxes on groceries in his new tax levy that passed in November of 2024. Jeff, I beg your pardon, but you're incorrect. The sales tax on utilities is 3% for Woodland, 4.09%. And then there is a pass-through tax that is a misnomer being called a franchise fee. It has nothing to do with the franchise. It's a tax that City of Woodland Park incorporated into that contract that you had council sign for what, 4 years ago, 5 years ago? Carol Harvey, Catherine Nakai, then Councilman Mayor Case, at that time, your councilman, you all approved it, and I objected then. The reason that I'm bringing this to you tonight is that I hope that this will not fall on deaf ears, and I hope that there is clarification on what this tax is. The reason they called it a franchise fee, it was common 2 decades ago when taxes were being held both for statutory and home rule cities. It is not, it doesn't have anything to do with Core Electric or Black Hills Energy. The city asked them to play tax collector. So we are basically effectively paying 7.09% on Woodland Park utilities. If you go out to the county, you don't have that surtax. Just City of Woodland Park has it. And I think that it was very respectful of Chief Dienst to put citizens first and not to tax necessities in order to gain more money for another necessity, the ambulance district. I'm going to request that council do a deep dive into what the impact would be should we decide, the citizens decide, to revoke tax on groceries or to at least ask for a reduction. And I think that it's a good time to do that. Property values are much higher. We only have 3,800 rooftops. We've got $8.5 million on sales taxes alone that don't even include the additional surtax of 3% on our utilities. So I'm asking council to keep an open mind. Jeff, I appreciate your experience from decades ago. I appreciate someone looked into this for Buena Vista, but let's look into it for Woodland Park. And let's put citizens first, and let's have some transparency on the taxation. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have
And
someone
We do,
else?
ma'am. The next
Okay.
speaker is Debbie Miller.
Debbie, if you'd give us your full name and city of residence, please.
Good evening, Debbie Miller, President with the Greater Woodland Park Chamber of Residents, Colorado Springs. Madam Mayor, City Council, and city staff, I come bearing great news I want to share with you. And this has to do that I was so thrilled, even though I shouldn't be doing backflips, I wanted to do a backflip when you guys voted for 5B. Putting the water line into the cultural center. But what I want to share with you tonight is your contractor, your subcontractors, and your city staff have been so professional. I've gotten to witness day to day the progress, and I want to share with you and share with the city how wonderful it's been to see this, to see the progress, to see how fast it's gone, how professional everyone has been about this, and I can't wait to see that building open again. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Debbie. Appreciate that. Anyone else?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. Anyone else in the audience that wishes to address the council? All right, we'll move on to item 7, unfinished business. We have none. Item 8, ordinances on initial posting. We have none of those. Item 9, public hearings. We don't have public hearings tonight, and we have no new business, item 10. So that takes us to reports. And the first is the mayor's report. And I just want to share some things with the council from my perspective, sitting as the chair of the meetings. In our policies and procedures, section 10A about decorum, it talks about council members being encouraged to exercise principles of general decorum in all aspects of their official city conduct, including but not limited to public statements, press releases, media interviews, and written correspondence constituting a public record. For purposes of this subsection, general decorum shall mean politeness, courtesy, professionalism, and avoidance of personal insults, ridicule, bullying, slanderous remarks, and ad hominem attacks with respect to other city officials, employees, and fellow council members. And I would go on to say that that probably should apply to the public and our volunteers, even more so than the city officials, employees, and council members, because that's who we work for. So I just want to just let you all know that as the mayor presiding over the meetings, that I will not tolerate any more of that kind of behavior or addressing our citizens that come before us, whether it's for a volunteer position or just to make comment to the council, because that's who we work for. And I think we need to be grateful for those that volunteer for us. And so from now on, I won't tolerate that, and I will be stopping any kind of comment in that way. And if that continues, then I would adjourn the meeting until we can regain some professionalism. So I just wanted to share that with you all. That's all I have. Catherine?
I have nothing, thanks.
Thank you. Terry?
I have a question. Could we get the current procedures and things that we agreed to put on the website? Because it's the old one that's up there right now. It's signed by Hillary, so thank you.
We'll take a look at that, yes.
I have nothing.
Jeff? Carol?
Nothing.
Thank you. George?
Nothing for me, thank you.
And Steve?
I'm good.
Thank you. That takes us to city attorney's report.
I have.
Thank you. And staff, city manager's report.
Thank you. I did want to briefly address the community on the lead service line letters that went out this past week. Thank you. I did just want to share, we put a number of resources on the website and also had an article published in the Courier to address all of the frequently asked questions and all the information about the lead service line that went out. We had two separate letters that went out on here, and I'm just going to read the first line and then I'll address it briefly. It says, recently the state of Colorado issued a violation against the city for non-compliance with a lead service line inventory. So this was a reporting issue where the inventory was not submitted to the state to their satisfaction. The state of Colorado required the city to complete a comprehensive inventory of service lines and submit that information for public record. This violation was not issued due to the discovery or confirmation of lead in any city water. This violation was issued because the city failed to submit necessary documentation before the state's deadline. So we are actively working to have that remedied. The survey itself, I believe it's been completed. We just have to get it uploaded to the state. There were two letters that were sent out. One letter was sent out to every water customer within the city, which I'm sure all of you received. And that letter basically said that we didn't submit the survey. There was another group of letters that were sent out specifically to homes that were built before 1981 that we do not have 100% confirmation they do not have a service line that is lead. So those individuals, we are asking for you to contact our office to confirm whether you know for a fact if you don't have a lead service line. And we have a number of resources if you do not know. So that's what I'd like to say for now. And then I will re-bring this up at our next meeting until we get all the questions answered for the community. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Erin. Anyone else? All right, then we are adjourned.
Well, no, we're not.
No, we're not. I pull that back. We are going to be adjourning into executive session. If I could get a motion, please.
Yes, I'd make a motion to move into executive session pursuant to CRS section 24-6-402 4E1 for determining positions relative to matters that may be subjected to negotiations, developing a strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators. And the following purposes are provided for identification purposes: discussion of miscellaneous contract remedies.
Can we have a second, please? Thank you. Any discussion before we adjourn to executive session? Suze?
Nakai,
Yes.
Baldwin.
Yes.
Gear,
Yes.
Harvey,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Case.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
I don't feel like.